All right, let's just dive straight into this, shall we? Welcome to today's explainer. We've got some genuinely fascinating source material to unpack today. We're looking at the beat sheets in the background for a project called the Krusty Crucifixion. Now, what we're looking at here is a complex, and I mean incredibly dark, political horror thriller script. But what makes this explainer so unique is that we aren't just looking at the intense, fictional conspiracies cooked up in the narrative. We're also going to examine the very real-world publishing friction the creator faced trying to get this story out into the world. It's a wild ride that blends a gritty, fictional universe with the modern realities of independent publishing.
To really get this script, you gotta look at how it hooks you right from the jump. The source document outlines this highly visceral cold open that just plunges you straight into the deep end. I mean, think about it. What happens when a single sniper bullet unravels a global conspiracy? That's the core question driving the momentum, literally from page 1. The script wastes absolutely no time dropping its characters and the audience into an incredibly high-stakes fictional universe where one pull of a trigger sets off an unstoppable chain reaction.
Section 1. A deadly fictional conspiracy, the inciting incident.
So the author meticulously layers these catalysts right in the pilot episode. The macro plot builds this world just steeped in elite depravity, blackmail, and, well, institutional evil. It all kicks off when Senator Mark Callum gets assassinated at a high-end venue. And we're talking a professional .338 Lapua sniper shot from a passing dirt bike. Insane, right? This isn't just a murder. It's the thread that, once you pull it, exposes these massive fictional networks of war profiteering and human trafficking. And man, it doesn't stop there. The script completely ramps up the tension when a tech billionaire named Sash Gupta is murdered right in his ICU bed. And he leaves behind this super cryptic clue, "I just bought J. Cole, she knows." The pacing in this beat sheet is just relentless.
As the characters dig deeper, they uncover something called Phase 3 Bloom, or MLK9. Basically, this is a massive, fictional, deep-state chemtrail and mind control program that is absolutely central to the script's core conspiracy. By bringing this in, the narrative totally elevates the threat, taking it from, standard political corruption to this massive sci-fi scale danger. The characters aren't just fighting guys in suits, they're up against an atmospheric, systemic horror.
Section 2. Factions in the crossfire, the characters.
We've got a massive ensemble cast here, and a really brutal core conflict. On one side, we have our gritty investigators, FBI Special Agent in charge Claudia Boss Lady Morrow and her partner Rex Harlan, and they immediately vow to just burn this entire conspiracy to the ground. But look at who they're up against. These elite conspirators include incredibly powerful, shadowy figures like Hiram Mohammed, Dave Smythe, and even the fictional President of the United States, Jack Simon. So the script pits these determined, boots-on-the-ground law enforcement agents against an enemy that, quite literally, reaches all the way to the Oval Office.
Section 3. Escalating fictional threats, Episode 1 to 4 highlights.
The chronological escalation here is honestly beautifully structured for a thriller. The story actually anchors itself 48 hours prior to the assassination with this really disturbing flashback to a yacht party where we see Senator Callum trade his own daughter, Dawn, just to protect some blackmail material. And that trauma, it echoes right through the timeline. By episode 2, the FBI is getting ambushed in a warehouse while trying to rescue a 16-year-old witness named Missy. Fast forward to episode 3, and the trauma completely tears the Callum family apart, culminating in Dawn violently shooting her own mother, Natalie. The script just systematically dials up the revenge and familial implosion right alongside the FBI's investigation.
Now, the crucial point in Episode 2, the thing that really blows the case wide open, is the Polar Bear Ledger. It's this vital financial document that reveals $42 million in illicit payments, plus these really cryptic ties to something called the Lizard Drop lineage. This is honestly a masterstroke in thriller pacing. It takes what was initially just a single murder investigation and explodes it into a sprawling, terrifying deep-state network. This ledger is literally the map to the conspiracy.
But of course, the elite conspirators don't just sit back and watch. The script throws in a very modern technological twist, an AI deepfake war. Using an AI backdoor, the villains fabricate this highly realistic video that frames our lead FBI agent, Claudia, for planting evidence. I actually love this detail because it forces our heroes entirely off the digital grid. Claudia has to order a completely analog-only investigation, effectively stripping away all their high-tech tools and making them incredibly vulnerable.
Section 4. Season 1's climax, projected escalations.
So the source document actually outlines about 124 more pages, projecting a 10 to 13 episode season. And the mid-season and finale escalations lean heavily into that dark conspiracy horror tone. We're talking about the full exposure of those MLK-9 chemtrails, major character deaths through these brutal cleanup hits, and Senator Callum's son, Robert, evolving into a full-blown vigilante. On top of that, the AI deepfake wars spark international incidents, and it all leads to a massive finale showdown regarding the actual deployment of that Bloom program. It's clearly designed to be relentless from start to finish.
Section 5, the author's digital footprint, the real Claudia.
Now, this is where we get into a really fascinating meta-narrative present in our source materials. Behind the relentless, determined, fictional FBI agent Claudia Morrow is the real-world creator, author Claudia D. Reid. It draws this incredibly compelling parallel between a fictional protagonist fighting systemic corruption and a dedicated real-world author hustling to build and protect her intricate literary universe against actual industry challenges. Because, let's face it, getting a project like this off the ground today requires some serious modern hustle. Going by the career name Claudia Writes, she is highly active across X and Instagram, she publishes directly to her audiences on Google Blogger and Substack, and she utilizes Patreon for support. It takes a massive amount of work for an independent writer to establish a professional, searchable identity across search engines and social platforms in today's highly saturated market.
Section 6. Defying literary gatekeepers. Publishing friction.
The number 3 is super significant here. Why? Well, according to the source texts, this story was originally written as a book 3 years ago. It caused quite a stir in its original format, well before the creator ultimately evolved it into the screenplay format we're analyzing today. There's his quote directly from the source material that is just incredibly striking. It is all fiction, but somehow the gatekeepers are afraid. Regardless of where you sit on any of this, impartially speaking, this perfectly encapsulates the author's perceived resistance from the traditional publishing industry. It highlights a really fascinating tension. The story is completely made up, yet it allegedly triggered real-world hesitation from literary platforms.
Let's summarize the specific roadblocks Claudia Reid Writes has documented. The material describes the Krusty Crucifixion as the hardest sell for both paperbacks and ebooks. She even noted extreme difficulty getting promotional videos created for the property. There was this palpable industry hesitation, and again, despite the work being purely a work of fiction. Actually, this very friction is what forced the creative evolution from a controversial book into a fast-paced thriller screenplay. She essentially adapted her medium when the traditional doors wouldn't open.
And that leaves us with a truly compelling final thought to wrap up this explainer. If it's all just fiction, if it's just a creatively spun political horror thriller about chemtrails, ledgers, and deepfakes, why is the publishing world so hesitant to let this story unfold? It's a question that makes both the fictional script and the author's real-world battle equally thrilling. Thank you so much for joining me to unpack this incredible material. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.